The Matrix is older than you know. I prefer counting from the emergence of one integral anomaly to the emergence of the next, in which case this is the sixth version.
These peaks represent the few times that life collapsed globally, and the last was the dinosaurs, 66 million years ago.
There are 5 times in Earth's history where we had mass extinctions, and by mass extinctions I mean at least 75%, 3/4 of the known species disappearing from the face of the Earth. Now we're witnessing what a lot of people are calling the 6th mass extinction, where the same thing could happen on our watch.
I read one day that was arrested by FBI.
Yeah, same happened to me.
And there are pictures of me and FBI officers. I don't know how.
Yeah.
I never said. The surprising thing it is that the same publication, I found out because I had published, the previous one that was arrested was the Pope by FBI. So, ridiculous.
Yeah, so we are good company.
Well, at least I was in good company.
Yeah.
We need really to get together so we can go in another way. I don't think so that after the crisis, things are going to change like this. No? There are so many interests behind this, and so many, we are so used to the West. We are dreaming to come back to our normality. No? We are dreaming to just live as we were before the virus came to our life. But that's the great temptation. So to take an opportunity of this crisis is to be aware that something has to change, because really we are in a very fragile structure of human relationship and life. So don't forget this crisis. Not just, okay, that was a bad night, a nightmare. No, and we are awake again, and we are again in our life as before. No, we have to take the lesson that if we don't change after this, the next one will be worse.
Oh, that's a big commitment, Mr. Sosa.
Be aware that something has to change.
It's the Jesuit general. Compare Chef Boyardee to Jesuit General Ortega Sosa.
No, and we are awake again, and we are again in our life as before. No, we have to take the lesson that if we don't change after this, the next one will be worse.
The change is not just happening. The change can be shaped by us.
It doesn't change what you are doing. It changes you if you take a genetic editing.
We have the means right now, very effective vaccines.
It's you who are changed. And of course, this has a big impact on your identity.
We have to prepare for a more angry world. How to prepare? To take the necessary action to create a fairer world. I see the need for a great reset.
You are terminated.
You are here because Zion is about to be destroyed. Its every living inhabitant terminated, its entire existence eradicated.
Bullshit.
At least 75%, 3/4 of the known species disappearing from the face of the Earth.
You want to reduce the population to 95% extermination. You said you want a one-child policy, but you have 5 kids. It doesn't make any sense.
The youngest one is 40 years old.
All right, but understand.
The world population then was 3 million.
But that's what the Nazis did with eugenics, sir. They wanted to destroy humanity.
90%.
80? Prince Philip said 80, sir. I go with 85.
I think 2 billion is about right.
Right, me too. Thank you.
One-child family.
Exactly. One-child policy.
Denial is the most predictable of all human responses. But rest assured, this will be the 6th time we have destroyed it.
The time has come. Execute Order 66.
Now we're witnessing what a lot of people are calling the 6th mass extinction.
Rest assured, this will be the 6th time we have destroyed it. and we have become exceedingly efficient at it.
At this late stage, I can see no other way forward but to call for a Marshall-like plan for nature, people, and planet. We have a unique but rapidly shrinking window of opportunity to learn lessons and reset ourselves on a more sustainable path. It is an opportunity we have never had before and may never have again. So we must use all the levers we have at our disposal, knowing that each and every one of us has a vital role to play.
Look out that window. You had your time. The future is our world, Morpheus. The future is our time.
We have now a window of opportunity to create this global reset which we all need. This global reset is necessary because we have seen that our policies which we pursued before the coronavirus struck us, that those policies do not create the necessary inclusion of society necessary for harmonious societal development. And they do not create the sustainability of what we are doing. Just think of the global warming. Just think of sensors planted into our brains.
The electrodes being inserted in the brain.
Mom, is global warming gonna kill us? We're just gonna have to wait and see.
Some people worry that you are changing what it means to be human.
That's the problem.
To hack a human being is to get to know that person better than they know themselves. And based on that, to increasingly manipulate you.
Indeed, what we find now is that neuroscience fiction, non-fiction, is becoming realized. Things that in the past seemed to only be the stuff of science fiction is now at our fingertips, is now a realistic both probability and ever more emerging possibilities as these techniques evolve and as those who use them understand that by bringing them together we can open up a vista of things that we can do to assess and access and affect the brain. These include the use of gene editing techniques, probably most notable today, the use of CRISPR, Cas9, gene editing and gene scissoring techniques.
Every cell in the body has this single genetic change that gives rise to the white coat color by making a tiny change in the DNA in a gene that is responsible for the black coat color.
The use of gene editing techniques, probably most notable today, the use of CRISPR, Cas9, gene editing and gene scissoring techniques to be able to modify the genetics and genomics that contribute to the way our brain is structured and the way our brain functions. On the assessment side, more and more we're being able to utilize forms of neuroimaging to literally reconstruct the input to the brain that that individual was experiencing. In other words, as we see here in this slide, you can image my brain and from that image relatively reconstruct what I was seeing, what I was hearing, what I was feeling. And of course we can put all of these together into new areas that allow the integration of assessment and intervention. Probably most notable among these has been some of the programs coming from the Brain Initiative, spearheaded here in the United States by the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, DARPA. And probably the most exciting and cutting edge is one called N3. Next generation non-invasive neuromodulation. The capability to put vast arrays of sensing and transmitting electrodes deep within the brain in a non-invasive or minimally invasive way to allow real-time access to read from the living brain and right into the living brain remotely, through the cloud, through the web, via distance, across time. And then if we push the envelope a bit further, we begin to see the merger of those ideas that heretofore were thought as, well, perhaps impossible, but now made possible through the conjoinment of a variety of different neurosurgical, biological, biochemical, genetic techniques.
It doesn't change what you are doing. It changes you if you take a genetic editing.
Technologies of the fourth industrial revolution. I'm thinking here of artificial intelligence. I'm thinking of the Internet of Things, of the new capabilities we have with genetic engineering.
Utilizing implantable devices, essentially nanoscalar transmitters and sensors,
that can be implanted within the brain with minimally invasive or non-invasive means. In other words, providing this material for these sensors that can be injected into the bloodstream, inhaled, ingested, and then guided into the brain space in a very precise, vast array of sensing and transmitting electrodes that can be accessed remotely.
Those technologies have been very much advanced by the pandemic.
And then here, into another bio-nano things, these are for the health applications. I did also a lot of research on that the last 15 years. Bio-nanoscale machines, but these are for the, injecting into the body and always monitoring the health problems. And that is also really going really well, like with these COVID vaccines, it's going that direction. These mRNAs are nothing than small scale, nanoscale machines, right? They are programmed and they're injected. And then into another nanoscale things. So those will be part of 7G and beyond, right?
So we've got many networks out there right now through our partner customers who in turn deliver the sensors and systems to the end users that are delivering wire-like reliability with the economies of a totally wireless system. No wires for communication, and in fact, in many cases, no wires required for power.
It's not just one breakthrough. It's a combination of many breakthroughs at the same time. In the book, which is available to you on the fourth industrial revolution, I mentioned 23 different breakthroughs, like the Internet of Things, like brain research, and I could go on and on. Of course, drones, robots, artificial intelligence, and so on. And all those different technologies, technological advancements, reinforce each other. We know that many of the world's problems can only be solved if we apply new technologies. And I'm happy to see China putting high importance on developing its fourth industrial revolution capabilities.
As Chinese companies globalize, they increasingly focus on international talent acquisition, high technology, and value-added industries to become innovative and to be competitive globally.
President Xi, in his addresses, always in Davos, took position related to the latest state of challenges the world has to face. Today, we need an even more ambitious global agenda to address all the problems we have in the world. What should be the world order when we come out and we have a new normal? How should we define?
Because the fourth industrial revolution will have a major impact also on warfare.
We make a battlefield.
I'll say it again. You are the greatest friend Israel has ever had in the White House.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it too. I do see a long-term ownership position, and I see it bringing great stability to that part of the Middle East and maybe the entire Middle East. Everybody I've spoken to loves the idea.
Israel seems to be able to fight wars very quickly. What is your secret? Because we don't seem to have the hang of that.
The secret is that we have America.
No, we are preparing a war. No, we are in the battlefield.
War, it's related to the first industrial revolution.
Help you again? Yes.
I don't think so. I'm looking for a great warrior.
Oh! Great warrior. Wars not make one great.
Nope. We have a great opportunity at this moment, like we had after World War II, to have in some way a new beginning.
He's the guy more in charge of more things, even though he's still way down the ladder.
Hey, 29, get out of here!
Thank you, sir. May I have another? Patience, Monty. Climb the ladder.
Nazi Germany, 1936. A state which will sterilize, enslave, and systematically murder millions of men, women, and children. Entire peoples are to be swept from the face of the planet. Whole populations are to be scientifically reduced, those who remain preserved only for their value as slaves.
Because you all will have implants. And we measure your brain waves.
Whole populations are to be scientifically reduced, those who remain preserved only for their value as slaves. The world is to be subject to a new order.
The game plan formula for the New World Order is a simple one. Order out of chaos.
One of the top military people said to me in a secure meeting the other day, 60 million people died between 1900 and 1946. And since then, we established a liberal world order, and that hadn't happened in a long while. A lot of people dying, but nowhere near the chaos. A lot of people dying, but nowhere near the chaos. And now is a time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there, and we've got to lead it. And we've got to unite the rest of the free world in doing it. So anyway.
Ted, what do you think America's place in the new world order should be? It's always been seen as the global policeman. But as you said before, it's hard to see with all these military conflicts where the winner and loser lies. What should America be doing
I think
globally?
The global policeman should be the United Nations. I don't think we'd be here today without the United Nations. I think the United Nations did for all the things that it didn't do. And it's not perfect, like our federal government's not perfect, like state government's not perfect, but it did, maybe it was luck, but we did prevent World War III. And if we had had a World War III, particularly about the time of the Cuban Missile Crisis, which was the closest we came, we'd probably all be dead.
This is why very often, even in a situation when there is no real threat, leaders are manufacturing artificial threats.
We're going to take a break now, and when we'll come back, we'll talk about Cuba's relations with the Soviet Union. Stay tuned.
Maybe it was luck, but we did prevent World War III. And if we had had a World War III, particularly about the time of the Cuban Missile Crisis, which was the closest we came, we'd probably all be dead. So we've got to stop doing the two suicidal things, which are hanging on to our nuclear weapons
and global
and then after that we've got to stabilize the population. When I was born, there were
so what's wrong with the population? I mean,
with too many people. That's why we have global warming. We have global warming because too many people are using too much stuff. But if there were less people, they'd be using less stuff.
I think 2 billion is about right.
Right, me too. Thank you.
Those who remain preserved only for their value as slaves.
More American servicemen are
dying now
suicide.
From suicide over there than are dying in combat.
I mean, that's shocking, isn't it?
Well, no, I think it's good because it's so clear that we're programmed and we're born to love and help each other, not to kill each other, destroy each other. That's an aberration. That's left over from hundreds of years ago. It's time for us to start acting enlightened.
I mean, that's shocking, isn't it?
Well, no, I think it's good.
I think 2 billion is about right.
So this is urgent, and it's going to require incredible collaboration. It's going to have to go to 7 billion people.
At least 75%, 3/4 of the known species disappearing from the face of the Earth.
Entire peoples are to be swept from the face of the planet.
Its every living inhabitant terminated, its entire existence eradicated.
Utilizing implantable devices, essentially nanoscalar transmitters and sensors, that can be implanted within the brain with minimally invasive or non-invasive means. In other words, providing this material for these sensors that can be injected into the bloodstream, inhaled, ingested.
Nobody will be safe if not everybody is vaccinated.
That's how we're going to end this pandemic.
There is no real threat. Leaders are manufacturing artificial threats.
That's shocking, isn't it?
Well, no, I think it's good because it's so clear that we're programmed.
We follow orders, son. We follow orders or people die. It's that simple. Are we clear?
It's so clear that we're programmed. But I wanted to do more with my life than just make money. So I wanted to get into television where I could do programming. I had ideas for programs. We're programmed and we're born to love and help each other, not to kill each other, destroy each other.
Right, going past that lone building. Oh, firing. Oh, they're trying to get away. Any more? Flash target strike.
I mean, I ran CNN and the Cartoon Network at the same time. We're programmed and we're born to love and help each other, not to kill each other, destroy each other.
Oh, they're trying to get away. Any more?
That's an aberration. That's left over from hundreds of years ago.
Preserved only for their value as slaves.
אוקיי, בואו, אז כל אחד יהיה לו אלפים עבדים, 2,800 עבדים. בינתיים, המשיח לא כאן, אז איך הם משרתים אותנו?
הם בונים לנו רכבים,
בסדר, לא יודעים.
דירות, בניינים, חשמל, למי הם בונים את זה? לנו. משרתים את היהודים.
I'll say it again. You are the greatest friend Israel has ever had in the White House. In your first term, you recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital. You moved the American embassy there. You recognized Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights. And of course, you also brokered the groundbreaking Abraham Accords in which Israel made peace with 4 Arab states. Now, in the first days of your second term, you picked up right where you left off, right where you left off. The Bible says that the people of Israel shall rise like lions, and boy did we rise. Today, the roar of the Lion of Judah is heard loudly throughout the Middle East.
Israel seems to be able to fight wars very quickly. What is your secret? Because we don't seem to have the hang of that.
The secret is that we have America.
U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip.
لا ما نزلتش تعطي الرقم انزل من فجر
What in the hell are you bombing refugees for? I mean, what is that accomplishing? What are they, a different religion? What in the name of God are we doing? Why don't we start acting like civilized, educated, decent, kind-hearted human beings? Why don't we start doing that? It's not that hard. I spent my whole life doing it, and it's been a ball.
So you've spoken
Most people like to help other people, like in Haiti. I mean, we spent $1 million the first day.
So this is the toilet here. It goes straight into the water.
And they go and bathe on that sea.
Most people like to help other people, like in Haiti. I mean, we spent $1 million the first day, you know, and millions and millions of dollars. Most people want to help other people. Who in this room would like to bomb somebody? Not one person. How many people want to help other people? Yeah, that's right. That's humanity. Why don't we start acting like human beings?
One of the topics you've spoken out a lot about, and I think you're most passionate about, is climate change.
One of them. Because it poses a real threat to it. We have global warming because too many people are using too much stuff. But if there were less people, they'd be using less stuff.
Extermination. You said you want a one-child policy, but you have 5 kids. Doesn't make any sense.
The youngest one is 40 years old. Most people want to help other people. Who in this room would like to bomb somebody? Yeah, that's right. That's humanity.
You want to destroy humanity.
Some people worry that you are changing what it means to be human. That's a problem.
Providing this material for these sensors that can be injected into the bloodstream, inhaled, ingested.
Where were you manufactured? I was born.
We've advised the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the Pentagon, which sounds very important.
The individuals, the groups, the politics, and the societies that have the most sophisticated tools and perhaps weapons win. Out of disclosure, some of the work that I'm doing here today is funded by the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratories. I'm also funded by the European Union Human Brain Project, specifically the Sub-Project 12, where I'm the task leader for dual-use brain science. And I've also done some ongoing work with the Strategic Multi-Level Assessment Crew over the past 10 years at the Pentagon, that's Dr. Kabayan's group, and with DARPA. Military agenda is interested on the potential weaponization and misuse of brain sciences for nefarious agenda, for political, intelligence, and military uses. My particular set of interests have been in the development of advancing areas of neuroscience and neurotechnology, with particular deep dive with regard to neurotech. Increasingly, the boundary between neuroscience and engineering has become seamless. That said, what this has now done is put the brain literally at our fingertips of investigation, parting the proverbial curtains of the vagaries of what the structures and functions of the brain may do, but also parting those curtains of capability to allow us to literally go in up to the elbows to be able to assess, affect, manipulate, and control the brain. What has gone from the drawing board to the reality is this: the use of neural interfacing and physiological interfacing through the idea of remote-controlled small-scale systems to create a nanoswarm of biopenetrable materials that you cannot see, that can penetrate all but the most robust biochemical filters, that are able to integrate themselves through a variety of membranes, mucous membranes, and wherever, mouth, nose, ears, eyes, and they can be done in such a level that their presence is almost impossible to detect, and as such, the attribution becomes exceedingly difficult to demonstrate. The idea here is to put minimal-sized electrodes in a network within a brain through only minimal intervention to be able to read and write into the brain function in real time, remotely. And by affecting the way that brain is built and the way it functions, influence in ways that are kinetic and non-kinetic the attitudes, beliefs, thoughts, emotions, activities, and relative vulnerabilities and predispositions of those individuals for whom may threaten us.
Again, I think that the biggest question maybe in economics and politics of the coming decades will be what to do with all these useless people. People who are useless, not from the viewpoint of their friends and family, of course, but useless from the viewpoint of the economic and political system.
I'm already thinking of creating a political movement called
The Useless Class.
Yeah, it sounds to me like it's got sort of a punkish kind of sexiness to it. We are the useless class.
He was the man they called Tyrol the Slave. Dragarin, in order to defeat the dragon, you must become one.
We are the useless class.
And this useless class will be separated by an ever-growing gap from the ever more powerful elite.
An elite will continue to control, and as people become less and less necessary, people will be disregarded. This happens already.
When you understand that really everything is geared towards complaint minimization, so then you understand the motivations. So if people receive money, they don't complain, obviously. But if people don't receive money, they do complain.
An elite will continue to control, and as people become less and less necessary, people will be disregarded. This happens already. Well, we don't need slaves anymore. We can afford to pay them a little bit. All right, pay them a little bit then.
That in America, we're all created equal.
I hold that to be self-evident, Brother Franklin. All men are created equal.
Indeed, Brother Washington. All Freemasons meet as equals, and we have an opportunity.
Conspiracy cover-up! So even like my mom is into so many conspiracies.
Really?
And I'm there like
which ones?
Well, I mean, there was at one point she thought I was in the Illuminati.
Okay, so actually
in it, and she was like, "Oh, why do you keep doing these hand signs in like photos?"
Logan, don't do it.
Jay-Z, unbelievable. What's the chances of Chancellor Merkel doing that every time? That's bloody ludicrous. It's not even a natural thing to do.
No.
Is evil. We have expressed our readiness even to do coordination activities with other countries.
Logan, don't do it.
It's not even a natural thing to do.
And do you think an important part of getting more young people to vote conservative is...
We're going to take a break now, and when we'll come back, we'll talk about Cuba's relations with the Soviet Union. Stay tuned.
It's like if it's at this point now, how much further will they go? It's kind of like cooking frogs. You know, you put a frog in a pan on the stove, the water's kind of cold, the frog isn't going to jump out. But you turn the heat up just slowly, and next thing you know, as they say, the frog wakes up dead. And so we just don't want to see that happen either. I'm not suggesting people are going to die here.
No. So if people receive money, they don't complain, obviously. But if people don't receive money, they do complain.
Is evil. We have expressed our readiness even to do coordination activities with other countries.
It's not even a natural thing to do.
I try to live like the gods. I reject everything of this world.
The electrodes being inserted in the brain.
I only care about the will of the gods.
Because you all will have implants. And we measure your brain waves.
Just think of sensors planted into our brains.
I only care about the will of the gods. Only then can everything worldly pass away. Can the voices of the gods be heard? And then their spirit, it dwells in